Welcome everybody to the Keys to Wisdom channel. Just want to go over a couple phrases. Hopefully I don't take all that long. But here I want to start out with the Philosopher's Stone. Circle, squared, triangled, circled. Right? That's the symbols of the Philosopher's Stone. A circle with a square around it. So it's a circle, squared, triangled around it, circled around it. Right? So now I got some mathematics out and I got some numbers up here that in my earlier Daniel video and in the stuff that I'm going to put together very well, all of this stuff in here relates to it. So I'm going to continue on a little bit with the Philosopher's Stone here and just say that 720 times 360 is 259,200, which is 10 great years at 25,920 each. And that is also the transposition of the Daniel 12 work that I had used. Daniel chapter 12, 1 to 13, 25,992. But the moral that's within the mathematical formulas in the Philosopher's Stone here is 720 for the degrees of the circle, 360, divided by 180, which is triangle, the interior angles of the triangle, 60, 60, and 60, times 360, the circle that's around it at the end, equals 1440, right? 12 times, or 24 times 60, the minutes in one day. That's the same thing as if you go 720 degrees, the circle and a square, plus 180 degrees. Well, if the triangle, the interior degrees, angles, plus the 360 of the circle equals the exact same 1440. And then the other way that you do it is 720 degrees for the circle squared times 180, the triangle around the circle squared, divided by the 360 of the circle, and what you're left with is one circle. So it's saying there's a circle and a square. The triangle is multiplying it, and the circle is dividing it from, really it begins 360 alone, right? So it ends. It's also like the first and last thing can be seen in this, right? It starts with a circle if you're going inside out. So it starts at 360, right? And then it's squared, so it's at 720. And then the 180 of the triangle comes in, right? Which is also here, it's looking as division. It's saying cut in half. 720 divided by 180, and then times 360 for the 1440, which is the same as the addition across. But it can be looked at the other way, that the triangle, the halving, is the multiplying part divided by the circle again, so it becomes 360 at the end, just the exterior circle. It's like the exterior circle has ingested all that was in between, the times now at squared and half a time at triangled, right, equals what it began with, right? That circle in the middle. It's almost like the circle in the middle goes through a process and becomes a circle on the outside at the same thing, and it could be like a freedom thing. There's many different ways to ponder this, but these mathematics are very serious when we're talking about the Philosopher's Stone and what those symbols are all about. And then now I'm going to jump into here, right? Some of these others, this is going to be from the phrase a time, or time times and half a time, which is also a theme in all of this. Right, and you'll see some transpositions of the 4320 in there, right? And then we got some other morals, right, in here, right? The transposition of a 45 and a 36, and we got down in here what could be a 45 and a 45, right? left and right things. And one of the things that I saw earlier today was that circle squared, which they say it's impossible to square the circle with with only a compass and a straight ruler with no markings, right? I square the circle without either the compass or the straight straight ruler, whatever you want to call it, unmarked ruler. Cecily or Daniel, circle squared, squared circle. All right, so now when I put in these names that we're talking about, now we have context into the 45 and the 36, and the 45 and the 45, and also context into our transposition thing. And now I'm going to jump over into time, times, and half time. Right, so that's where our other stuff comes in, our three different keys: 720, 1440, 360, 2520. That's just the addition across. I didn't mess with anything else, but these are important. They go into the other keys, and you'll see them throughout all of the works when I put it together. These are to have a grasp of these formulas in here. And I'll probably be reminding as we go on a lot of it, but it'll be a big help on there, right? So it's the 756, and also today Daniel pointed out was the 6624, right? And he had done some work. Well, I had been figuring that out after I made the video also, right? 6624, right on time. Well, that's part within this 756 at a time, times, and half a time. 756 times 2, half of 756, 2646. And again, that's our transposition morals within it, right? And 2160 is also the age of one age times 12, so it is also a time, right? 2160 is a time. Half of a time is 1080. These are in terms of years in the context of the great year, right? So actually, this would be a time. 4320 would be the times, and half the time, 1080 is the 7560, which you'll see transposed through all of this stuff, right? This also is the moon, diameter of the moon, right? This is a deacon's time, right? I believe it's 1 out of 36, 720 by 36, 25, 920, right? So deacons, so it's 1/36 of a circle, right? In terms of time, right? This here we're applying in terms of time, right, to today, 6624. The 2160 is the length of an age, with the 1/12 of the circle is 2160 in great year terms, time, times, and half a time. And what did I want to put in? Maybe one more, the book of life, or the book of perdition. I had shown in the video, right? And in here, right now we got a 45 and we got a 35. We were talking about the 45 and the 36 in the last thing, and we had the context, and then down in here we also have a 45 and a 45, so we got a different context. The moral of this, again, is time. There's a different window here when we're applying these things. When the 45 and 35 is a different window than the 45 and the 36, right? And the 45 and the 45 would be the same, wouldn't affect it, right? There, that window isn't in relation to the 45-35 and the 45-36. These are different windows. And again, here we got a transposition of the time, right? 1440 minutes in the day, and all of the links into the Philosopher's Stone, and the links into a time, times, in half a time, right? That's 720 deacon, 2 deacons, right? And half a deacon. So that would be a 72nd, a 36th, and an 18th. So there would be a representation. You could see 36 with this, 18 with this, and 72 with this. Just to reinforce that, we'll back this off, that 18 and 36. So you could see a 36th of the great year, an 18th of a great year. These are relations in here, and here also we're basing off the same deacon here, there. And let me go back to this, the book of life or the book of death. Now I'm going to match it with a mirror here in the mirror, and I'm going to go with Cecily and Mark, which is for me, or Jennifer and Daniel. Now I've exactly mirrored the opposite, the same thing, 1440, all of that, everything going on with the 35, 45, 45, 45 in here. Now I got, again, today's date, the time, 6/6/24, 6/6/24. Now we have a 36/36, a really big type of moral in there, right? Like the 45/45 that I was showing, right? It would be right here, Cecily and Mark. The Jennifer and Daniel would be 36 and 36. And when we have the combinations, it would be a transposition deal. So then now here, right, I had went over that. Son of perdition. Let's go with co-ed wisdom in the replacement for it. Right now we're telling a little bit of different story, and maybe it is the same book based on, right, co-ed wisdom life, right, rather than the context of perdition. You put in the word reflecting. Now we have an 1188 thing. I didn't type in any of my 1188 stuff, but that has a Z ion, entire alphabet context to it. All of this stuff would be something like 45 times 12 equals 540. That's the months. And also in 45 years, 54 times 12 equals 648. 540 plus 648 equals 1188. Right, these are some other things. Let me share them real quick. If I can copy and paste them. Let's see. Because we got this 1188 deal in here. In here we got the 45/45 deal. This is big time 45/45, but then we got two other keys. This 45/36, 45/36 transposition thing. So now I posted them. 72 times 12 is 864. 27 times 12 is 324. 864, 324, 1188. 45 by 12, 54 by 12, together 1188. Context of the 45, right? And the 36, same thing. 36 by 12, 432. 63 by 12, 756. 432, 756, 1188. A, B to Z, 1188, 1179. Right? The whole deal. But all of this, right, is the concept deal. Let me see if I want to mess with this some more, because it can definitely be can definitely be. Transposition. Let's see what happens there. These are some links into the Daniel stuff that I shared. Of course, this is a transposition here of the 2160, and also the alternative age thing that I use, 1008 times 25 plus 659, right? That would be 2016 and 2 ages that way, right? The way I show it based on word calculation, and I have a bunch of work relating into this that I'm doing in that as well. Right, the 1188 context comes down, but let's see something like transposition Jennifer 4535 is different than the 36, right? Different. This is a time window, right? All of this stuff. Now here's that 7560 from there goes back to there. What else we got in there? There's the other deal, right? Daniel, Jennifer, different ages. This is a different time window, right? Because we brought it into the realm of people and ages. And then there's also the views of conception and birth, although the investigation I've done so far means a birth window, right? But there's also multiple options on this, right? Since there's four humans in time play, right? There's a different window, right? If you're going by birth, it could be a window saying from 9/4/24 to 12/18/24, or 12/17/24, or it could say there's a time window from 9/4/24 to 7/26/25, right here, because we're based, it's on 4 people, and we're already gone past 45 here, right? We marked it a couple days ago. Next, next, next. So we're in chronological order when I'm saying Cecily and Mark, or Jennifer and Daniel, right? That is chronological order. Order. That's like a tongue twister. All right, but there's all kinds of different deals in here. Lots of different stuff, different ways to look at it, right? Different things. I got to look through a lot of stuff and get down real nice combinations. I actually posted something in my video that when I looked at it in the way that I had it, it was significant. I didn't do it on purpose, but because all the work was on the 9s, it was going to wind up being something on the 9s, so I just wanted to copy and paste and mess around with combining different phrases together. So I did this one in here. This one has a bunch of the different time windows. Right. There's lots of different relations into this, right? But then it happened to be balanced, right? Mama, I am coming home, but it's got a moral going, Mama, I'm coming home, right? Because this here is going a time, times, and half a time, meaning half of the 1 and 2, right? Half, representing 2, 4, 2, right? It's still It's saying that A is half of A and B, right? Not a third, not a third. It's a half. That's the moral here. Mama, I'm coming home, A. When Michael stands up, right? Daniel 12. A time times half a time. I know the day, and only God knows the hour, is what I had put down, right? And these are all transpositions for 2025, which would also be more along the line of this window than 4535 would be an earlier window, even before 2025, right? In this information here, these are some of the main keys, not all of the side keys of each one of these phrases, right? Actually, this one here was 540 because I had removed, I had also had A, B, A, B, B, A, I think, another combination of A and B's for 80 more. So this is actually 540, which is again 45 years times 12 months is 540. There's also the 540 deal in here, right? And this is a circle 360 and another 36, a circle in 1/10. This would be doing the same type of thing. Transposition. But this is not real significant here. This is just something that I had put in the video. Now, would have still been, let me see. What do I got to get it up to? 2843. $28.43. Alright, that's why I pulled it back down to the 540, because it wasn't going to stay on the nines. Right? This stays on the nines for everything that we're doing. That didn't. So actually, I didn't have it all entirely balanced all the way through. And pull that right out, and that would be the last part that I had just wrote down the numbers. That's more on target of some of the stuff. This could be some window action. But that's some of the stuff here that I'm doing, and I'm just sharing it for the personal identification of things, right? There's only so many people out here even trying to read anything or able to read anything. So when I'm putting this in here with the people, therefore the links to what these are being shown in terms of time and ages, and also those, they have relations to other periods of time within them. So I'm just sharing this here so that I'm not all that far out ahead of everybody else. Show a lot of this stuff as I go, and then eventually here hopefully we'll put together some really good, solid, in order work that we can talk about all of the different numbers, symbols, show it in all of that, just like we're here where I started out with the Philosopher's Stone, showing it in the words, showing it in the numbers, the mathematical formulas, in the symbols, and relating it into the different calendars, right? The great year is a type of calendar as well, right? And it's all about divisions, right? When you're splitting it down into. But there's some big morals here in these mathematical formulas as it relates to the Philosopher's Stone. And then when we're talking about that, I add in the names too. We're talking about two circles and the different things, right? If you look at it from the perspective of two circles there in the middle, right, and ending with one circle, or you start look at it from the perspective of one circle started in the center, then another circle squared and it became two circles, and then the other formula is here multiplication and then divided by, and it ends on the outside, right? If you with that circle. So there's different perspectives to it, but where I want to do this with all of the different stuff, just like here how I'm relating into a time, not a time, although there is applications into that too. All right, can I run with this? Everybody knows I can run with this. You want to see me running all over the place with this? There, I can run that angle too, right? But this is the angle that I'm running on everything, which is in line with all of the geometry stuff that we're still relatively young in discovering, was being shown to us right in front of our face within the Word for a very long time. Everybody that's working on it, right? But we're already advancing very, very, very far in terms of the geometry applications to everything, right? And here, this times and half a time, right? It's got all kinds of time relations and geometry relations within it, right? We got it down so far that we timed it to the exact day that we're out here showing it and realizing it, right? And that's a time. That's deacons. That's a time. That's ages. It should be expressed differently with the 180 on the right to go along with the whole thing of time times and half a time. I just typed that wrong, right? It should go 2160, 43, 20, 1080 for the half of time. All right, so we want to do this with all of the other stuff, and also I've shown all of the different on the nines geometry, creation geometry, in terms of the seed of life, the egg of life, the Vesica Pisces, right? All of that stuff, we can apply all of that within all of this. And we can match it up in terms of the math, the numbers, the results, the words, the shapes, the symbols, and the times. We can tie all of them together because they're going to have relations into the flower of life, the fruit of life, all of those things, right? I've basically put out to everybody the good portion of the bag of Legos. Everything I've thrown out here lately is all done on the nines, but they need to be done in combinations that bring them into line with the symbols and mathematics and degrees, all the different things, right? They're there, but you have to match everything up, right, to produce the flower of life symbol within the words. You can do it. It's got to be matched up, right? That's what we're doing with the Philosopher's Stone, right? Circle squared, right? And it's right all along the 720 deal, right? And the 576, right, is a representation over into here. So what I was showing you on that other phrase, But time, times, and half a time, these are those links right back in the circle squared, right? It's 1512, boom. All three of the links. It's right here, boom, 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 boom. So when I go time, times, and half a time, and those first three keys show up, right? It's linked into all of them. That's how it's linked. That's boom. That's right there. Boom. That's right there. Boom. It's right there. It's all three of those main keys. The first two main keys and the finisher key, which is the same thing. So when we're doing this, and now I'm going to go triangled. When we're doing this, it's the same thing as the word, right? These are the first two keys. And then it ends with this one and final key here, right? That's the same thing going on with circle squared. Circle squared, first two keys. Triangle that goes through the process, all the different mathematics, and it becomes that final key, right? Same thing is going on here. Circle squared, triangle, circle is the same thing the word is doing. And these are reverse views of those original keys, right? And again here, there we are, we're tied in. 70, 43, 20, we're tied in. 15, 12, right? Do we have any other tie in here? Oh, we don't have, I don't see the tie in here. Although it may be in mathematical formulas that I can't just see, or it could be represented smaller in terms of the 36 separated here from the 45 as a tenth, right? Could have a representation to all three of them in there. I'd have to think about it more. I'm kind of on the fly. I'm just talking to you and looking as I go, right? This whole here too. Have I covered this? 1978, 5739 deal, right? Which can apply to the 45 and the 45 multiple ways. Or it could go 5738, 1979, and then it can only apply to Cecily. But if it's applied 1978 and 5739, it can apply to both of us. So these are same principles that I'm talking about in 3536 and 4536. All of that stuff, it's all together, right? And then again, here's our 1188, because we're constantly the moral, right? It's a Z-ion deal. So all kind of our mathematics is in this all the way through. Alright, boom, boom, boom. It's all in there. Circle squared. So we're going to be able to use some of the keys, some of the mathematics, and it's all based on time, times, and half a time too. All these mathematics I'm showing you is the same thing. And really, when they're telling you that, and I'm going to try to end here quickly. Right? Really, there's a mathematical view to look at this, right? It says a time. So let me take a time. I'm going to take a time. It's 24 for hours in a day, right? That's a time. And it's a 360. It's a full revolution. Now it's saying times, and I can't use the X without changing my deal off it. But I'm going to use that for the multiplication part for the times. Now it says and half a time. So I'm going to go with 12. So this here can literally, this formula here, multiplication formula, if you take this literally, right, that's what it's saying. Put a time here, put a times here, and half a time after. So it's saying any number you start with that's to do with time, multiplied by half of that number, right? This here is saying time in terms of hours. Time times half a time and half a time, right? So I don't even know what that'll be. I should know that right off the top of my head, but I don't. So I'm going to calculate 288, right? And this now has links into 2 days. That extra 0, right, would be minutes in a day, but it's got to link into the 1440, right? It's going, and you could ponder on this a little bit, like, are there not 12 hours in a day, right? Because when you go 24 a day times 12, which should be half of a day, right, it becomes 288, which is the 10. It's the representation of 2880, right? And 2880 times 9, the full alphabet, 25, 9, 20. And these relations in it becomes a relation of 2 days. Right? And there's a moral too. Like, let's say that we have a unit of 1. We're going to say 1 is a time, right? 1 minute, 1 hour, right? And then we're going to say 0.5 is a time. And we're going to get out of that because that would be 1.5. And we're going to go to 1 times 0.5 equals 0.5 equals a half. Equals a half. Now, we could look at this in terms of the Philosopher's Stone. The 720 in terms of 1, right, being the circle squared, and times, right, the 0.5 here, triangled, equals 0.5, which is 360, half of the 1. Right? We could look at the Philosopher's Stone in this mathematical formula as well. Right? But there's some moral to 1 times 0.5 equals 0.5. Right? 2 times 1 equals 2. There's some moral into these, right? When you start looking at time multiplied by half a time, which you can take literally out of this when you get here, right? There's massive morals to 1 times 0.5 equals 0.5, and 2 times 1 equals 2. Huge. Huge. It says so much about 1, right? Right? But then here too, like I said, we can relate this into the Philosopher's Stone. If you're considering the circle and the square as 1, this is the formula right here. That's what's going on. 720 times the 180. 180 is also a symbol for half of the circle, right? Or the square, right? 2 squares, but the square and a circle, split, split. You got half a square and half a circle, but you still got 360, right? Now that would be some kind of other weird. I don't know how you could express that in terms of a symbol, right? Because it wouldn't really be. Maybe it would look like a C. Depends how you could express it, right? I might have to actually look at that myself. How would I express that? Circle squared. I can just cut it in half. Let me actually look real fast at one of them. Alright. So it would be like a C shape. If you use like the left side inside of an E without the middle point, it'd be like a C and an E, which are the first characters of Scion and Zion. But you could express it the other way too. It looks like you could go half square, left half square, right half circle, or vice versa, left half square or right half square, left half circle. And you could actually make a nice little shape out of it from what I'm looking at here. It'd be half circle, half square. Circle representation. That's some of the stuff, though, that when you're looking at these symbols and the mathematics and stuff, this is not just math. It's not just numbers. This is not just numbers. This is geometric shapes, right? This bullshit here is not calculated. This is some bullshit, right? If you ever flip over on this thing here, right? Whatever kind of deals, and right also here, because it's using their different formats, it doesn't produce the shapes. Notice how they weren't able to create the the symbol building using trying to use geometry, right? They must be using it off a smaller subset. I don't know exactly how that is operating over there, but they don't have one for my side of the word, right? This is my side of the word, or our side, right? Everybody's side who wants to come over there, but this is my side that I use of the word all the time. I go over here a little bit to look at some stuff, but they're using these other formats to create these shapes here, right? But you really can't do jack shit with any of their single digit things, right? I don't even know what the formula is based going on that. But you get over in here, now we're into geometry and the shapes and everything, and we can show all of the multiple things, right? What would 720 be in relation to 2160? 3. So 720 by 3, so it would be 1/3 of 1/12 of an age, right? A 36th and a 12th. 12 times 3. Different mathematic calculations are within there, but within here, different things to think about, right? So when you're looking at this, and I'm doing times, and half a time, and we're pulling up these different results here, it's not just about considering the numbers and considering the words, but it's also about considering the different symbols and shapes and different things that they're representing, both in terms of the words are sometimes representing the shapes and the symbols, and other times the numbers are representing the shapes or the symbols, right? This is really 720, you know, is two circles, 720 and 360 and 360. And 2160 can represent one circle in, in terms of an age, right? You've gone full circle through the age. So there could be, you could be looking at the Philosopher's Stone here in terms of circle and a square, and here something different that is still either a circle or a square. Well, in the Philosopher's Stone, it starts circle and it ends circle, right? It all begins and ends the same, right? That is different than the transposition stuff that I'm showing here. That would be something of half square, half circle, right? That's the transposition moral, is half square, half circle. Philosopher's Stone starts inside circle, ends outside circle. That is different, right? And those are things to think about as well in all of this. But in here, there's a circle and a square, and here's a circle. I don't know if we don't have an expression for 180 that I see within here. 48 by 6 is not going to be it, right? Let's see. 288 for my 48 by 6. I'm not the ultimate mathematician by head with everything, especially when you get into the bigger digits, but I use a calculator pretty handily. But that's just some of the stuff that I wanted to share, and like always, I'm going way too long with everything, but I just get going and I start looking, and I'm just I don't have nothing planned, but not much planned. But I'm jumping to whatever my head thinks of as I am looking, whatever my eyes see, whatever I feel, whatever I hear from looking at what is going on, right? So this here, right, this transposition, this N here, this is another thing that I want you to see, that the the philosopher's stone starts inside with a circle and it ends on the outside with a circle. And this is a transposition. This is not. This is half circle and half square is the moral within this, which is it's the same degrees, it's the same formula, right? But in terms of when you're seeing the symbol, it's showing the deal. It's not circle, circle, triangle, square, right? It's showing an order. It's showing an order. So you got when you read the order, that's the deal. But when we're talking about here, this would be here. This would be the circle squared, or this would be the circle, and then the circle would be the 45, 45, right? So the two different things here, the 720, 180, 360, this is in it, right? But this end here says it's the circle and the square interior gets cut in half, right? And these are the very people that are working on the word, right? Myself and my theme was Cecily for all these years, and now Daniel and Jennifer, right? And all of the times, these are morals into these symbols. Let's just look at this. Still on the nines. $11.88. Got that 288 and the 9, right? With that 0, 2880 times 9 is 25,920. And it's also the alphabet full A to Z. 1188, 2016. On that one. A lot of different ways to read in. See, I don't really fit though, right? When it's talking about, when I'm looking at these and all of these options, right? And it doesn't fit like this either, right? I've looked for, there's only certain things that fit, right? It's like I'm talking about different time windows. There's different things fit, other things don't. This is like a bumper, keep you on track type thing. There's all kinds of different ways to look at it and different results to look at, right? Half circle, half square, total solar eclipse, right? 1989. Last year, 44. There's also some 44, 45 things going on. And in terms of that window, right, I'm the last one on that window. Cecily would be on the 45 expression, right? I'm still on the 44, 45 expression, which you'll see in there. Haven't really seen the 35, 36 plan, but I've seen the 45 and 35, 45 and 36. Very
significant within it. Some of this here could also be looked at as 548 plus 1 is 549. Same thing, 549, which is 45 times 12 plus 9 months from conception, for 549 months versus 540 from birth. These things are in there. There's different ways and different things to look at. The one that fits, though, directly with the the circle squared is here, right? So when I want to fit it perfectly, right? Marker Daniel can't fit in there, right? Jennifer or Daniel can't fit in there. Only Cecily or Daniel can fit in there. And then it can flop out and stay on the moral of the story in the 9s with Jennifer or Cecily, right? Or Jennifer, or it can stay on Jennifer or Cecily just like Jennifer and Daniel, but it can't stay on with Mark, right? So these are things. What is there and what is not there? What can be there and what cannot be there? I'm looking at all of this stuff. When I'm reading into this, I'm looking at all of this. What these time windows are, what these are, what the symbols of all of this is, what the mathematics of all of this is, what the geometry of all of this is, and also within it, what the morals of all of the things are. And while it can be very perspective rich in terms of how you're looking at it, right? Because it's got the full circle. Every damn degree of perspective that there is to look at this, you can come from that, right? And if you want, we split it down the middle in terms of saying it's half of the perspectives way that you're looking in could be looking at it negatively, and the other half you're looking in could be looking in positively, right? But the entire circle, and you can bisect the circle as low as it infinitely. You can infinitely bisect that circle down. That's how many perspectives, different views, all the way around, full circle there are, or full square there are, for how you perceive all of this stuff, right? And for me, what allows me to get into all kind of different things and look at absolutely everything, even the things people think are so super scary, 666, and the perdition, the son of perdition, or the book of perdition, or any of this other stuff, is because I consider that full whole circle. And I always make sure when I'm looking at anything that I'm thinking about it from both different sides of the circle and from a lot of different angles from both sides of the circle, so I can stay grounded in looking at something and I'm not just carried away with the positive view or the negative view, right? I'm not getting swept away by the current, right? I'm right in the middle where there's not a lot of drag, right? On one side, if you're too far on one side, the drag is going to rip you one way, down or up. And on the other side, it'll rip you the opposite way, up or down. But if you stay in the middle, you can look at and think about anything thoroughly without allowing the preconceived notions that you have that have been implanted into you from the world can prevent you from looking at something in deep ways because you're already repulsed or scared or whatever of it, or you're so convinced that looking at it, it's a good thing, all right? It's a good thing. It's a great thing, right? You're so convinced of that and accepting of that that you don't even consider the possibility to look from the other side that maybe there's a different side of the story of it, right? That's what I'm talking about. So when you're looking at super things that you and the world may widely consider negative, try to look at it from positive angles, right? Just like the
the demiurge, and the demiurge symbol, trying to look at it and look at it deeply in many different ways, from positive things to as well as the potential negative things, even though it's associated with it, right?